Alrighty, welcome everyone. I'm Zetsubou, and I am here to talk about more of the treasure hunting that I've been doing. Today, way too many shows came out, so instead of watching them all, I watched them all. Wait, shit. Yeah, I watched 6 shows today. I think there were 2 more, but they're continuations of things, so I just sort of skipped them. But I watched 6 of them, and of those 6, about one of them was worth watching. So I'm gonna do a really quick TLDW for this video before we actually go into all of them and try and like summarize really fast. So really quickly, Nekopara, it's cat girl fan service. There's lots of fan service, not that much, but there's enough. And then there are cat girls. If you like that, you'll probably like this. It's pretty cute and well produced. It's okay. It's nothing special though. Hatena Illusion, I made it about halfway through, and then I fast forwarded through the rest of the episode. It's pretty poorly produced, and it's just like cliches stacked on cliches stacked on cliches. I got nothing out of it. Infinite Dendrogram is a VR MMO RPG, and it's pretty mediocre. I wouldn't say that it's bad, but it's a waste of my time. It's pretty mediocre. We'll talk about it more later. It exists. There are a couple of good ideas in it, but mostly it was a pretty straightforward MMORPG setup thing episode. Would not recommend. Jibaku Shonen Hanako-kun. It's pretty fucking awesome. It's definitely got a bit of a moving manga type of style to the actual shots and things, but almost every frame in it is fucking gorgeous and has some of the most beautiful single frame art that I've seen in a while. It's really good looking and also has a really cute story, and we'll definitely talk about it more. Hosekisho Richard Chino Nazo Kantai, or the case files of Richard the Jeweler or whatever. Really slow episode, but it seems to be like an episodic wholesomeness type of thing where we dive into individual family issues and various things that just happen to be related to gems, and we go and we explore those. I don't know how seriously detective-y it's going to become, but it was all right. It's just rather slow and fairly flat. Uchitama, question mark, have you seen my cat, whatever, is the peak of fluffiness and cuteness. It's about a bunch of animal people who are actually animals, but they see each other as humanoid and can converse with one another. So it's a bunch of really cute dog and cat people who just wander around their town doing things. I think it would function better as a 5-minute short than it does as a 24-minute actual episodic thing, but it's ridiculously cute and just like it's fun. It's pretty okay. So those are all the shows. Now let's go through them again, but more. Okay. First thing I watched this morning, I was barely awake for it, but Nekopara. I made a good choice in watching this first because my brain wasn't on, and that was okay for this particular show. It's pretty mindless. It's based on an adult visual novel, so you know it's going to have some sabisu, and it does not disappoint. There was definitely some service. There are some Yuri pairings. There are some not so Yuri pairings. There are a bunch of cute cat girls who do cat things, but also they help out at a sweet shop, and it's like making colorful sweet food that looks pretty good because it's anime, and cute cat girls doing cute cat girl things and also sexy cat girl things, and that's all it's probably ever going to be. It was pretty cute. It's pretty well produced. If you're into Neko Mimi, like cat girls and stuff, then you'll really like this. If you're into the visual novel or the source material, you're probably gonna really like this and watch it no matter what. Um, if you're not into like slice of lifey fan servicey typey shows, then give this one a miss because it's not going to do anything different than what you'd expect from what's on the box. It's exactly what you would expect from what's on the box. Great. Hatena Illusion. I really didn't like this one. I got about halfway through, and then I skimmed the rest of the episode. It was tropes, but not even just tropes, just cliches piled on cliches. Like the main girl, who she's really immature, but she wants to seem like she's more mature, so she orders her coffee black from her butler that she has, and gets it, sips it, and it's too bitter for her, so she ends up putting milk in it anyway. Um, That's just one example. There are others like the walk in on girl in bathroom sequence, which happens a little past halfway through the episode and is pretty boring. The basic gist is that there's this boy named Makoto, and he's got this childhood friend who's this girl, and she seems to be the main character. She thought that he was a girl when they were kids, but he arrives and she freaks out because he's not a girl. He's a boy, and she hates him because of it. They do magic. It's pretty unclear what the magic is, whether it's magic tricks or like actual sorcery and stuff. But it seems to be actual sorcery and stuff. There's a transformation sequence at the end of the episode. Her actual transform design is pretty cute. Transformation sequence was meh, meh. But I've been watching Precure, so like my standards are a little bit elevated for transformation sequences in anime. It's passable. The whole thing was pretty mediocre in its production. There's this whole long sequence in the beginning of the episode where every single frame has these horrible like angel ray filters across the entire screen, and it just looks shit, and there's too much of it. The animation itself kind of falls apart a couple times. Characters go off model a couple of times. Some of the flow of the animated sequences is kind of mediocre. There are some moments of good character acting, not that many, and nothing in the story grabbed me or made me interested in this episode. So it's an insta drop for me. Infinite Dendrogram gave me hope originally. It seemed pretty okay going in. Being a Studio Naz production, I was kind of like, okay, they're doing this and It Invaded at the same time. I wonder if maybe they took some of the cost savings from It Invaded looking like poop and put them into this to make it look not like poop. And it kind of looks like poop. It's not very good, and the story is a pretty standard generic-y VR MMO setup. Now, I'm probably going to get some comments of people saying, yes, but this thing is different, and so that's interesting, and I disagree. I think that pretty much every VR MMO type game setup has like one gimmicky thing that's different, and that could be interesting or it could not be, but it's not enough to change the fact that it's a really generic setup. The thing that really hit the nail into the coffin for me was that we had this huge build up to this final battle-y fight sequence where he's taking on a fucking Remoraz gigantic centipede monster. He finally gets his superpower thing that he has in the game, because everybody has their own unique superpower thing in the game, because of course they do. And his superpower thing is a waifu bait girl who I hate the character design of and looks like shit, and she turns into a giant fuck you sword with ridiculous bullshit spikes all over it and fucking whatever. And then he hits the thing with it, and I was like, all right, this is the moment, show. This is the one moment that you have where you could go and hire one good key animator for a 15-second sequence of cuts and make some good goddamn Sakuga for this one moment to sell it to me. You could sell me on this moment. And instead, it just explodes into CG sparkles, and there's like all over the screen, and it looked like shit. And I just sort of went, oh, well, you fucked up. You fucked up, show. Sorry, you fucked up. The one interesting thing about this show, I think, in a story perspective, is that the game that they have, and we can just sort of hand wave all of the technological problems with this. It's sort of like an evolutionary emergent property sort of systemy thingy with really advanced AI. So the AI within the game are pretty much sentient entities. They're people, and if they die in the game, they die for realsies, and the world just keeps on chugging. It's that real, and one of the exposition characters says that a few times. It's that real. It's so real. I don't know if we're ever gonna do anything with that. It sort of reminds me a little bit of Log Horizon, but Log Horizon's gimmick on that front was so well constructed and not introduced early on in the anime. Like, I kind of feel like we're never gonna really address it, and I really don't feel like it matters or changes anything about this show. It's pretty much peak mediocrity. It draws tropes and ideas from pretty much everything that the VR MMO or game or isekai genres have done, and does nothing new with them. It's pretty unfortunate. Um, gonna give that one a miss. Then we have Jibaku Shonen Hanako-kun. Wow, this show is beautiful, and it is, um, the way I explained it, my thoughts on it in the reaction itself or in the discussion to the reaction is that there are some shows there's like a sliding scale, and on one end of the sliding scale you have peak animation with less detailed character designs, because every time you add one element or one piece of detail to a character design, that's an exponential increase in the effort and time needed to animate that character design. So if you cut back on the number of details in your character designs, something that you'll often see in Trigger works, something that you'll often see in Masaaki Yuasa's works, you can do crazy things with those character designs, and they still register, they still track with the viewer, but they take exponentially less effort than they would to animate more complex character designs. On the other end of the sliding scale, you have moving manga type aesthetic, where it's just things that are basically still frames and essentially a PowerPoint presentation, but every still frame is fucking gorgeous. Hanako-kun is way on the side of the moving manga aesthetic. It takes the aesthetic choices from the covers of the manga, which are very painterly and very, very cool looking. I would almost liken them, although the style is different with the borderless art of Vofan's work, but I would almost liken them to Vofan's work on the Monogatari series. The covers are really beautiful, and almost every frame of the anime looks better than the covers, which are just one-off stills. It's gorgeous to look at, and the story and characters are already well established, strong, interesting, and have problems and interesting things to do with this setup. I think this is a really cool show, and I'm definitely going to watch more of it. I don't know if it's going to lend itself super much to great reactions in particular, but it's really pretty to look at, and I would recommend checking it out. It very well might not be for you, but if you can appreciate the artfulness that is in every frame individually, then give it a shot, because it's pretty cool looking. Then I watched Hoseki Sho Richard Shin no Nazo Kantai. It was extremely slow paced, but that's kind of what it seems to be going for. It's about a boy who meets this, I guess he's not a boy, he's like a college student or a recent graduate or something. His name is Sei. What's hero or justice? Translate. Yeah, Seigi. Seigi is his name. So he's been named Righteousness or Justice or whatever, and that's pretty much who he is. He's is your black hair boy. He meets this sort of suave English gentleman who speaks perfect Japanese, because of course he does, and they kind of hit it off. And we end up investigating sort of a personal family heirloom of his that has a pretty interesting story behind it, and it's a ring with a unique gemstone, and discover some stuff that I won't spoil in case you want to watch it. It's rather slow and rather flatly directed in terms of just like there's lots of shot reverse shot, lots of flat characters talking to one another. There's nothing visually eye-grabbing about it, which is kind of sensible for a novel adaptation, but the dialogue is relatively interesting, and the actual story on display has a bit of heart to it, has a bit of seigi, a bit of righteousness, a bit of justice to it. I don't know where it's going to go from here, as this first setup episode was directly related to the main characters and is probably not indicative of the way the future plots are going to go. I don't know whether it's going to be one major spanning plot or arcs or individual episodic adventures. It seems like individual episodic find a person who has a gem that somehow relates to some personal struggle or thing of theirs and discover what's really going on there is going to be the nature of the show going forward. If that sounds appealing to you, then this will be appealing to you. If you can handle the visuals, which are just kind of okay, it might have some really interesting things to say. I don't know, but I'm not going to stick around to find out because it's slow and kind of boring. Um, so be it. And then the last thing that I watched, we're on the last one, right? Yeah, the last thing that I watched was Uchitama. I think that this show would function much better as a series of 5-minute shorts, And I think that its main problem is that it is 24 minutes long, because I got a little bit bored at about the 3/4 mark of the episode. At about halfway through, we were already wrapping up the first major arc where we introduce all of the characters, or the first major story, I should say. We were introducing all the characters and like trying to find this one cat character who had gone missing. The general gimmick of the show, and it is an original, the general gimmick of the show is that all of the characters are actually animals. They're all pets. They're all cats or dogs, or I think there's one that's a raccoon, but it just showed up in the OP real quick and then wasn't there anymore. I think they're all cats and dogs. And they are literally cats or literally dogs, but they see each other, and when they see each other through each other's eyes, they look like people and can converse and interact. So they go off and do cat and dog things, and it's fun because they get to talk about it and discuss things amongst themselves. There's a whole little mini segment in the first episode where they're looking for comfiness. They're looking for a thing that they're calling waiha, and it's the comfy place that's always warm where you don't want to leave. And so we have them like chilling on the rice cooker, or chilling on a sunny bench, and then like get under the sunny bench to get away from the rain. And it's like, this is waiha for me. And it's really fucking cute. The character designs are pretty solid. They all look really good. General production is pretty solid. It looks really good. The only thing that holds it back, I think, is that it's a little long for the subject matter. It's a little hard to hold your attention with just fua, just fluffiness, for a full 24 minutes. It's nothing but that. But if you're looking for that, this is a pretty good source of it. If you need your cuteness, fluffiness, wholesomeness injection, go watch this show. It might give you something. So those are the shows I watched today. They all pretty much fell flat except for Hanako-kun. That's it. Yeah, they all were not that good. Some of them were really not that good. I think Nekopara is okay. I think that if you're really into VR MMORPG type things, then Infinite Dendrogram might be interesting to you. But I'd personally rather watch Shieldy Girl from yesterday because it was a better show. Hanako-kun is pretty fucking good looking. It looks awesome, and it looks like the story is going to be super wholesome and pretty cute and pretty interesting with this this undertone of creepiness, given that we're interacting with a ghost of a dead boy. It's pretty interesting. Richard Shee, or the Case Files of Richard whatever, is maybe going to have some wholesome factor to it. I know a few people who would be really into this one, and would find the things to love in it. There's also stuff not to love in it. Uchitama is just wholesomeness, pure, rarefied, crystallized wholesomeness, so maybe watch that if you want to. Big loss for the day was definitely Hatena Illusion. It had nothing to it that grabbed my attention. It was just kind of poop. That's what I watched today. Hope this helps you decide what to watch, because there were way too many shows to watch, and it might be helpful to know that some of them were not that good in my opinion. And again, it's always just my opinion and nothing more. Figure it out for yourself if you want to know what you like. It's important. Figure out what your taste is and what you enjoy and what you don't. It's good to know. Anyway, that's all the shows. I'm gonna edit this video and start uploading it, and then pass the fuck out because it's been a long day. Peace.